What's happening, Fourth and Inches podcast listeners? You got Stevie P. What's going on, everybody? We got week 14 action going on. We're going to do our DFS lineups for the weekend. Like I said, a little update. My son has been sick for the past couple, 2 weeks now. He's doing better. That's the reason why I haven't been broadcasting 3 times this week. Like we tell you guys before, we don't get paid for this podcast. This is basically just us trying to help you guys out, getting your lineup set up and everything. So I'm going to go over my 2 DFS lineups in DraftKings and FanDuel. And then after that, I am going to basically talk about a couple of guys that I think you can start this week if you're in a bind with some of the injuries that have been going on. So let's get into it. So this week, I guess we can go with FanDuel first. So my FanDuel lineup this week, I'm starting DeShone Kizer. I know a lot of people hear the name DeShone Kizer and think, oh man, this guy is not very good. He throws a lot of interceptions, but he's actually been fairly consistent the past couple of weeks. He's basically has a floor of like 14 fantasy points on FanDuel for like the past 3 or 4 weeks, I believe, 4 of the last 5. He does turn the ball over, but he's been rushing the ball pretty consistently, and he looks good. So I'm going to go with DeShone Kizer this week and have a little bit of confidence in him with a Green Bay defense that just lost their best cornerback. They've been decimated with injuries in the secondary this year, and they're just giving up boatloads of points. So let's see what the hell happens with DeShone Kizer. I went heavy on the running back this week. I know a lot of people are telling you to go, buy low on the running backs this week because a lot of cheap options. But it always seems like when you hear that, the guys that are, higher up there seem to blow up. And I think this is a week where in my 50-50 lineup, I feel more comfortable playing the more higher-priced guys. And Todd Gurley is going to be my first running back I want to talk about. I know Philadelphia has a good run defense, but they were a little bit exposed last week by the Seahawks, who I don't think have the same offensive line or running back talent that the Rams have. And Todd Gurley is just so involved in the passing game and in the running game that he's just every week this year, basically, other than that one Seahawks game, he's just been super consistent and looked really good. So Todd Gurley is going to be my running back this week. I'm going with LaShawn McCoy in a really good matchup. I know a lot of people are saying if Tyrod doesn't play, that we're probably going to see a bad game from LaShawn. I just don't see it. Indianapolis is a defense that has just been getting crushed by fantasy running backs this year. And LaShawn McCoy is a supreme talent. I think they are going to lean on him, especially with the snow there. And we remember a couple of years back what LaShawn McCoy did in the snow. I believe he had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, it's one of those games where I think LaShawn McCoy will be heavily used, and I think he can get loose on Indy. DeAndre Hopkins, for me, is a must-play this week. You have to have him in your lineups. Going up against San Francisco, there's just nobody that can contain him. The guy had 15 targets last week. He's just being outrageously targeted. He had 50% of the targets of the team last week. That's unfathomable. That's just crazy. That's Antonio Brown numbers, and the guy's just been producing every week. Last week he didn't get in the end zone, but he was 8 for 80. He's just super consistent, and I think he has to be in your cash lineups this week. Josh Gordon was 4 for 80 last week. I love Josh Gordon this week. Going up against Green Bay, they just, I told you about DeShone Kizer, and I think you have to start, Josh Gordon. He's only 6,700. And he has a high ceiling. The guy can score 2 touchdowns. We've seen him have 200-yard games and score touchdowns. And he was targeted 11 times last week. So a player that I'm going to have in a lot of lineups this week. I wouldn't say I'm going 100% on Gordon, but, I feel fairly confident that he is going to exceed his $6,700 price tag. Marquise Goodwin is another player that I'm going to roll with this week. Really good matchup against Houston. That's kind of a game I'm attacking this week. With Jimmy Garoppolo behind the center there. To me, just looked really good last week. I know he didn't score the touchdowns, but he had 293 yards against a Chicago defense that has actually played very well at home this year. And Marquise Goodwin caught 8 for, I believe it was 80 last week. He caught all 8 of his targets. Just, it actually might have been 90. But, caught all 8 of his targets. Looked really good. I have a lot of confidence in him this week. And you should too. Hunter Henry is going to be my tight end. Tight end, so against Washington, have played very well this year. Me and Kev have been talking to you guys and telling you guys who to play. And most weeks we're telling you guys, start guys against Cleveland, start guys against New York, start guys against Washington. And I'm going to follow that trend. Phillip Rivers has just been amazing this past month. He has been really accurate. And I just really like the upside of Hunter Henry at a $5,600 price tag. So I'm going to be confident in playing him. I'm going with Harrison Butker as the kicker against KC, for KC against Oakland. I just think that's going to be a higher scoring game, and I like to have kickers in high scoring games. And I'm going with the Denver Broncos defense. The Jets have actually been really good, but I think Robbie Anderson might be a little hobbled in this game. Plus, if you really look at Denver, their offense has put them in bad situations. They've just been having a lot of passing touchdowns on them. They haven't really been giving up a whole lot of yardage. Their yardage has actually been pretty low. But they are giving up touchdowns, but it's because the way the offense is playing. They're not really getting any yardage to help the defense out. So, in this game, really like the Broncos defense. I think they could show up and play fairly well in this game. So now to go to our DraftKings lineup. So in DraftKings this week, I know a lot of people are going to be off Matthew Stafford because of his hand injury. But against Tampa Bay, I just think he could have a really good game. And he's only 6,300. I think he has really big upside. And I just really like Matt Stafford against Tampa Bay. So I'm going to roll with him. Todd Gurley and LaShawn McCoy are going to be my 2 running backs. I already talked to you guys about that. In my flex, I threw in Gio Bernard. He's 3,100 on these slates this week. And you could play him in FanDuel also. Honestly, in 50-50 lineups, if you wanted to drop out Todd Gurley and throw in Giovanni Bernard and then upgrade wide receiver, I could see you doing that, or maybe upgrade tight end. You could do that also. Giovanni Bernard is basically a free slot this week with no mixing. So, love Gio Bernard this week. Golden Tate, I'm going to pair with Matthew Stafford. Tampa Bay has been terrible against the slot receiver, and Golden Tate could have a big week. I also went with Josh Gordon, and I went with Marvin Jones. I went with both wide receivers from Detroit because, 64 and 6,800 were good price tags for them, and if they do blow up, those are the 2 guys he's throwing to. So, an interesting matchup. I'm gonna try it because I needed a cheaper tight end. So I'm gonna go ahead and try Vernon Davis one last time. I feel like they're going to have to get the ball out quick with Joey Bosa and Melvin Gordon probably being all over, Kirk Cousins. And I really think that they have to really get the ball out quick. And I think that could benefit Vernon Davis and Jamison Crowder. If you wanted to throw Jamison Crowder in a few lineups, I think he could have a good game. And with that being said, I went with the Cardinals defense. Tennessee is just they're a sham to me. I just don't see that they're a very good team team, period. And I think if Arizona can stop the run in this game, they're going to have a hard time moving the ball. So, the Cardinals could be a sneaky play for only 2,800 on DraftKings. So that is my lineups, guys. I will be coming out with a podcast in probably about around 11 o'clock this morning, talking about plays and things like that. But just wanted to get this out there for the DFSers out there that are looking to figure out what they want to do and try these lineups in some 50-50s. You want to make some switches here and there. Maybe put Gio Bernard, like I said, into your cash lineup over in FanDuel. I really like that play. But for me, I love the two big running backs this week, and I'm going to roll with them. So you guys do what you want to do and have a good day. And let's get it.